Here are our players to pick up on the fantasy football waiver wire heading into week 3. We got a loaded quarterback group this week. Remember, Joe Burrow, as of this recording, they're concerned about his injury and turf toe, and it could be serious. It could be long-term. Find out more later, but you might need a quarterback. So let's start out. Daniel Jones, Indianapolis Colts, 316 yards, a rushing, a passing touchdown against the Denver Broncos, coming off of a 3-touchdown performance in week 1. Thought week 1 was a fluke. Playing Denver? Maybe not. Shane Steichen coaching that offense? Maybe he hasn't figured out great infrastructure around Daniel Jones. Next, Matthew Stafford goes for 298 and 2 touchdowns against the Titans. Devontae Adams is clicking. Puka Nacua has it going on. And the running game isn't necessarily a great one in Los Angeles. So this could really work out. If Matthew Stafford continues to stay protected, 2 great receivers, you could see those passing numbers going up way higher than we've seen in the past. You're not getting any running from Stafford, but the passing could be there. Jake Browning, yes, if Burrow, again, he's feared to have suffered a grade 3 turf toe injury. If that happens, that would be a 3-month injury. Jake Browning, look, he threw 2 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. So he had 3 touchdowns, did throw 3 picks against Jacksonville. But remember, Jake Browning was in once before, and they changed the offense to suit him, and that could go right back. But he has Jamar Chase, he has T. Higgins, and you know what? Jake Browning could really help you out for fantasy. Hey, next one's Russell Wilson. Look, last week you were ready to bench him. We were ready to say you're done in the league. Then he comes up with 450 yards and 3 touchdowns. Yes, he's probably not doing that again, ever. That was a career game for him. But I'll say this. He did it, and if you're really desperate, you could play the matchup game in a super flex league with Russell Wilson. Next, Mac Jones, San Francisco 49ers. You saw him get it done with Jacksonville down the stretch, lighten up Brian Thomas every week down the stretch. But now, San Francisco, no George Kittle, no Brandon Ayuk, no problem. Mac Jones, yeah, they're playing the Saints, not a good defense. 3 touchdowns, 279 yards. Kyle Shanahan's system's a winner. Mac Jones can function in it. And guess what? You might have a fantasy player you need in your super flex league. Next, Joe Flacco. We're going deep here. Look, with Flacco, make it real simple. Tough matchup against the Ravens. Throws for 199 and a touchdown. But here's the thing. Quinshon Judkins played as a running back today. They might get some balance in their offense, get that play action game going that Coach Kevin Stefanski wants. Flacco has a lot of weapons, and Flacco is a good thrower of the football. So, yes, Flacco could be somebody who could help you out in those 2 quarterback leagues. Finally, Spencer Rattler, 46 pass attempts in week 1. It wasn't great, but he had some yardage. It plays the 49ers, 207 and 3 touchdowns. Again, this Saints team is going to trail pretty much every week. And if that's the case, they're going to throw in. Rattler has some options, and he's making use of them. Finally, if Justin Fields is to miss time with a concussion, Tyrod Taylor could take over. Tyrod Taylor can be decent in a pinch if you need a second quarterback. Goes 7 for 11, 56 and a touchdown in garbage time against Buffalo, runs for 21 yards. But that's the thing. He can run a little. He can pass. He has Garrett Wilson. He could definitely get the screen game going to Breece Hall. So again, if you're desperate, Tyrod Taylor. Let's move to the running back position. A little thin here. Jeremy McNichols. Very unfortunately, Austin Eckler suffers an Achilles injury, season ender. McNichols' profiles be the receiving back. So you could see him getting some targets each game. It could be in the 2 to 5 target range. But again, in a PPR league, you need depth at running back. McNichols can help. Blake Corum. Some of it in garbage time, but not really all, because the game didn't get blown out till Blake Corum ran in a touchdown. 5 carries, 44 yards. Look, I'll put it this way. Kyren Williams, he's a very good running back for the Rams, and they paid him and they want him there, but he hasn't been the most efficient. And if Blake Corum could turn a corner and become more efficient, maybe he draws the eye of Sean McVay. Definitely a stash right now. Kyle Monangai, Chicago Bears, 7 carries, 28 yards. Some in garbage time. Bears got ripped by the Lions. Caught a pass for 8 yards, but he's the clear number 2 behind DeAndre Swift. And again, Swift, not the most efficient back. Been healthy lately, but Monangai is his one opportunity from getting a significant bump in workload. Next, Kenneth Gainwell of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, Caleb Johnson, it's not happening. 1 carry in week 1, 1 carry in week 2. Kenny Gainwell's getting 5 carries a week. He got 5 targets in week 2. Not doing a lot with them. But again, if you're in a deep league, you need depth. PPR league with those 3 catches for 16 yards, it adds up. You get a few points, but Kenneth Gainwell, and unfortunately for Caleb Johnson, Gainwell's the guy right now. Chris Rodriguez inactive the first 2 games for the Commanders, but now with Austin Eckler out, Jeremy McNichols, as we said earlier, was already active. Rodriguez should move into a role. Before the season, Coach Dan Quinn had said Rodriguez was his short yardage and his goal line back, so that could still stand. He could have touchdown upside here, and you never know. If Chris Rodriguez, who's a good player, don't know why he keeps getting buried and the inactive and in the depth chart, but he is a good running back, and if Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt slips, Rodriguez could be in there to take up the slack. Finally, this one's really deep. Tyler Bidet, Denver Broncos. For some reason, he's getting passing down work. 2 catches in week 1, 16 yards, 3 targets for 2 catches, 18 yards in week 2. It's not much, but they like him on passing downs. If they get in their hurry up, they like him. Don't know why over RJ Harvey, but they do. And so for right now, that's a desperation PPR situation if you're really stuck at running back. If you're enjoying this breakdown, take a second, hit like and subscribe. It helps keep that fantasy advice coming your way. If you want even more of RotoWire's tools, rankings, and insights, we got a 15% discount just for our YouTube viewers. You go to rotowire.com, you choose that subscription, use the code YouTube15 at checkout. All right, let's go to wide receiver. Look, a lot of these Wan'Dale Robinson wasn't drafted. I know he was like wide receiver 65 in a lot of drafts, so he may be on the waiver wire. Yeah, 8, 142 and a touchdown, 10 targets. That's not going to happen much, but he had 8 targets in week 1. Last year, he had 8 targets in like 11 games, at least 8 targets. He is a PPR floor special. He had the big game here. Remember, Dallas was down there, slot corner. Deron Bland, so it was a great matchup for Wan'Dale. But again, last week, 6 for 55. You'll take that. So PPR floor, yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson's a player you want. He's playing on quite a bit on the field. De'Ami Brown, Jacksonville Jaguars, 5 for 57 and a touchdown. They have a 9-yard rush. He, in week 1, 8 targets, 6 for 55. Brian Thomas just doesn't seem to be working well with quarterback Trevor Lawrence and not getting a lot of yardage out of Travis Hunter. But De'Ami Brown's been money 2 weeks in a row. And again, 3 receiver sets. He's on the field. Next, look, he may have been dropped after last week. Maybe you're in a shallow league. He's not there. Josh Downs. I always said he was quarterback proof, and then he did nothing in week 1. We saw Tyler Warren and Michael Pittman get all the work. Well, Josh Downs is back on the scene against Denver in week 2, 8 targets, 6 for 51. That's a plus, seeing that with Daniel Jones. So again, Downs was dropped. Downs is a super player, very, very talented. So again, just keep your eye out. If he's out there, snag him. Alec Manor of the Tennessee Titans goes 4 for 56 and a touchdown against the Rams, 6 targets. Remember, he was targeted 7 times in a brutal week 1 matchup against Denver. So that's 6 and 7 targets in games. He is the clear number 2 receiver with Calvin Ridley, clearly has a connection with Cam Ward. Manor could really ramp up as the season goes on. Get him on your roster now. Next one, Troy Franklin, Denver Broncos. 8 for 89 and a touchdown, 9 targets. He ran for 11 yards, so 100 scrimmage yards. Week 1, he had 4 for 44. Look, second-year player, did play college ball with Bo Nix. They want him on the field. Right now, it looks like he may have even moved ahead of Marvin Mims, so Troy Franklin is worth a flyer. Hunter Renfrow, look, while Jalen Coker's out, garbage time special here. Renfrow goes 7 for 48 and 2 touchdowns, almost all of it in garbage time. But Carolina's going to trail every week. So they're going to throw the ball and they're going to have that garbage, and 6 targets for Renfrow in week 1. So again, till Jalen Coker's back, Renfrow could be a really solid PPR floor play for you. Next, Dontavian Wicks, 4 for 44. They used him early in the game against the Commanders. Unfortunately, Jaden Reed got hurt his collarbone. He'll be out till November. Wicks is probably in the rotation. He had 6 targets, and this was even the funniest thing ever. He's not great with hands. He was on the hands team, and he caught the onside kick. So maybe Coach LaFleur trusts his hands a little more than he did. Next, Olamide Zaccheaus with the Chicago Bears, 5 targets, only catches 2 for 12. But remember, he had 7 targets in week 1. He's the clear number 3 receiver. You know, he's got a little bit of a floor to work with. Torrey Horton, scoreless shutout week 1, caught a touchdown pass in week 2, 4 targets. Maybe he's emerging deep league flyer, see if something materializes. Digging really deep. Kendrick Bourne made his debut at the 49ers, 3 for 32 on 3 targets. Kyle Shanahan knows him, knows the system, could work his way in. Tight end, look, if somebody didn't pick up Juwan Johnson last week, he's still out there. You got to put him on your roster. 12 targets week 1, 76 yards. Another 9 targets in week 2, scores a touchdown, 49 yards. He's playing almost all the snaps. He's the de facto number 3 receiver. This team's going to throw because they're going to trail him. Zach Ertz, Washington Commanders. Again, if he wasn't drafted, he's sitting on waivers. 5 targets and a touchdown in week 1, 8 targets and a touchdown in week 2. Teams are giving the Commanders the underneath stuff, and Ertz and Deebo Samuel are there taking up those targets. Jatavian Sanders, 9 targets, 7 for 54. Didn't do well in week 1. But again, this team's going to trail. They're going to throw. Take a look at him. Finally, Theo Johnson, again, 1 for 5 in week 1. But he did have 5 targets in week 2, 4 for 34. Desperation, and see if he amounts to become something as the season goes on.